This is breaking news on Morning Blend.
Welcome to a special digital edition of Morning Blend. We want to be here for you while power is out in various places. PG&E customers are all suffering from this. We want to keep you updated on fires burning right now as well. Let's start with a massive Kincaid Fire, which continues to wreak havoc across the North Bay area this morning, forcing hundreds of thousands of people from their homes. As of the 7 o'clock update, and there won't be one for a while now, it is now more than 66,000 acres. It got a big boost yesterday from high winds and gusts. In Vallejo, a mandatory water conservation notice is now in effect right now. These are the flames from yesterday. I-80 was closed in both directions, but did reopen. A mandatory water conservation notice is in effect right now, and the city is declaring a state of emergency. And you are looking at live pictures of the Getti Fire burning in Los Angeles. It started about 1:30 this morning near the Getty Center Museum. Mandatory evacuations are in place. Thousands of homes in Brentwood and other Westside Hillside communities are threatened here. Officials say the Getty Center itself was built with thick walls and doors to compartmentalize the flames. So far, it's burned more than 500 acres. Rob, pretty intense both in the southern part of our state, also up at the Kincaid Fire in Sonoma County. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, well, as we saw this breakout this morning, it was very similar to a fire a few years ago called the Skirball Fire, which is one of the exits off the 405 that you take to get to where you would park to take the tram to get to the Getty Center. Look at that drop right there. That's from a Sikorsky helicopter. But what we're looking at is this is obviously burning structures. We've seen some images earlier, door-to-door firefighters not only evacuating people, but trying to put out structures that were on fire, look like homes. So this is not in a rural part of Los Angeles. This is right in the heart of LA. This is driven by hundreds of thousands of people on their daily commute on the 405, getting back and forth between the valley and then as you go down toward LA itself. So this is a very well-known area, and in these hills, very populated, big, beautiful homes, but you know what? Right now, they are losing some of those structures, and it's going to be a big firefight because of this. We are moving into a lull here in Northern California for our fire weather. Things are getting better, not worse. But for the LA basin and pretty much all of Southern California, including San Diego, things are going to get worse, not better. And it starts with early this morning under a red flag warning. This does include where the Getti Fire is burning at the moment. And for some perspective, this is the 405 as you start to move out away from the LA basin and then into the San Fernando Valley. This is where the Getty Center is right here, this white building. And we've seen some flames that have definitely been in this area off to the north and also close to this big country club as well. Lots of big winding roads and areas that are very exposed. Very easily they could burn because they're right next to vegetation. They call this the urban wildland interface. This is the dicey area where it's got lots of fuel to burn as long as the winds cooperate, which they are. And the thing that concerns me is this. They put this out very early in the morning, the mandatory evacuation area, because that's where the Getty Center is. There's a whole bunch of homes on this southern end, but then you can see what's next. Pacific Palisades. You've got a lot of wide open area here. This is hiking, this is waterfalls, this is horse trails for this section, but then it goes out towards Topanga Canyon and other spots as well. So this is the future area where they think that it's going to go moving off to the west. The problem with all of this is that there's plenty of fuel and the weather is going to intensify, stronger dry winds moving in that area. That's what's going on in LA, but I want to highlight that because that's what's coming back to our area. It's the same thing. We're going to have yet another offshore wind pattern emerge after we get done with the one that's still underway. We're in the last few hours of that one. Here's the next one that's going to emerge. It's very similar. Big area of high pressure and low. Down in Southern California, they call these Santa Ana winds because where most people live compared to when they started naming an event like this was in the LA area, and it was coming from Santa Ana. It was coming over the mountains from the Santa Ana area, and that's where it was originating. We call the same thing in the Bay Area the Diablo winds, not because that's the specific name of it, but because if you're in San Francisco, the winds are coming up and over the hill from where Mount Diablo is, roughly in this area, and then there's the peninsula. So it's geographic different names for the same thing. It's the same thing where you have dry air from the higher elevations, say from Nevada or from the high desert in Southern California, and it goes up and over mountain ranges. And each time that it does that, it will dry out, and then it drops down, the wind speeds increase, it gets dense, and then you look at fire weather. For both of those situations, it's the same offshore wind event, and that's exactly what we've seen here. The reason why we're still technically red flag, because we've seen overnight gusts 40, 50 miles an hour for some high exposed areas, and also where they happen to have transmission lines. That's going to delay when the power is going to come back on, and for some of you, it may not come back on because this is what's coming next. Calm right now. We hit highs in the 70s. Looking ahead, what we're going to see is a cold morning, close to records, 2 degrees away in Sacramento. Modesto, you're cold as well. But once we get rid of this red flag warning, watch what happens next. Most important thing is what's on your screen right now. This is the wind forecast. The rest of today, calm. I like where we're going with this. Even through a good chunk of tomorrow morning, it's calm. In the afternoon, the wind speeds ramp up. It'll be very strong later into the evening, along with some gusts, 40 to 50 miles an hour. Walt, the bottom line is that fire weather is coming back tomorrow, increasing through the evening, so we're still not done with this. I do see a moment on Wednesday, especially later, where we move away from this and we have more calm conditions and we move away from fire weather. But we've got one more round on the way. Walt?
Man, it seems like it's not ending. All right,
No.
Rob, thanks for all of that. And we are continuing to track the Kincaid Fire in Sonoma County. By the numbers, 66,000 acres have burned. 94 buildings have been destroyed. Nearly 200,000 people forced from their homes. CAL FIRE actually lost progress fighting it, going from 10 to 5% containment. At least 2 firefighters were burned, one of them airlifted to a hospital. Our Carlos Herrera is on the ground in Windsor. Carlos.
Yeah, I'm at a winery right now, Chalk Hill Winery, a historic spot and a very popular spot for people who live here and in Sonoma County who visit this spot. Take a look here behind me. That's the hilltop that firefighters have been working on since early this morning. You can still see some smoke really billowing into the air. They've been coming up and down that road up there. The danger about that is because it was really coming closer to this winery and to homes, both to the west and to the south. Really close homes, and that's been the worry all morning long here as the fire continues to spread. It's fueled by these strong winds that moved in yesterday. We shot some video in Windsor overnight as those flames got really dangerously close to homes in this area. This fire, again, continues to grow. I spoke with a firefighter earlier this morning. He says it's unbelievable. You make your way down a road, you see everything's fine, then you make your way back on that same road 5 minutes later and you see structures burning and hot spots on trees and branches and in dry brush in the area, and that's a concern here. Now again, this is Chalk Hill Winery. A lot of people visit this place. 1,300-acre winery here. We've seen people post videos and pictures online as they visit this place. Walt, you may remember we were at Soda Rock Winery yesterday along Highway 128 in Healdsburg. That burned to the ground. Brought a lot of memories for folks who saw that place, visited maybe and held their weddings, private parties. This is another historic landmark that was in danger. Thankfully, though, they really got a good handle on this fire, at least here.
Yeah, all right, Carlos, thank you. Still smoky out there where Carlos is north of Santa Rosa. There are a lot of other fires burning in the area. Download the new ABC 10 app and get all the latest updates straight to your phone. It's free on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Turning now to the other big story in our area, those PG&E outages. This morning, over 1 million customers remain without power. We're going to show you the outage map here. All the dots are places without power. And keep in mind, Cal OES says one customer translates to 3 people. So we're talking about 3 million people in the dark right now. To make things worse, half of these customers could lose power again starting tomorrow. Strong winds are expected to whip up again. Some of these people may not get power back between now and then, meaning they could be in the dark for 5 days or more. And by the way, if you want to check the outage map for yourself, we'll send you the link. Text the word power to 916-321-3310 and we'll text the link to you. The whole reason PG&E is doing this is to prevent fires. Placerville, one of the communities without power, and they'll lose it again possibly sometime tomorrow. Joey Prechtel is on Main Street in downtown Placerville with what's going on there. Joey?
Well, one thing that's interesting here about Main Street, Placerville, is that the street is really divided, where half of the businesses on one side, or the western side of the street, they have power because their power lines are underground and the city's connected up to a generator that is powering that up, whereas to the east, or on my right, these businesses off to my right are in the dark. They do not have power because their power lines are above ground. So they've been in the dark, and this is now the third time in just the past 2 weeks. And after speaking with a couple business owners and business managers yesterday, they tell me that these power shutoffs are really starting to hurt their profits. You know, they don't see as many people coming up to Placerville as they did, compared to, years past and weekends past. Listen to what one of them had to say about how he thinks these power shutoffs are affecting businesses on Main Street.
Streets lost thousands, if not millions of dollars. The restaurants have lost food. People aren't coming down. People aren't going up for Apple Hill. So it's costing us millions of dollars.
So again, a lot of businesses here in Placerville waiting for their power to be restored, as well as just a lot of people living here in the town. We were driving around earlier this morning and it was just completely pitch black as soon as you went into any of the residential areas. Again, PG&E is expected to, if not already, start those all clear checks, see if the power lines are good to restore power to, see if everything's safe and ready to go. But again, that power may only be back for a short time, if it does come back at all, before another round of power shutoffs begins tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, that's Joey with the historic bell tower behind him there in Centro Coffee in downtown Placerville. Thank you, Joey. A bunch of schools are closed today because of the power shutoffs. Most of them are El Dorado County, places like Pollock Pines and Placerville. We also have some in Nevada and Yuba counties. All 40 Sonoma County public school districts are closed today and tomorrow. And we'll have those scrolling across the bottom of your screen throughout the course of the day. The list will keep changing, and we have an updated list, of course, on our website, abc10.com. All right, thanks for watching. We'll be back coming up here in just a little bit for another update. For now, a live look at the Getti Fire, which is burning in Los Angeles, that hazy morning sunshine.